Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to make this quick video because this new code editor out there caught my attention, and the prime reason why it caught my attention was because of the fact that it is being made in Rust. I do not work with Rust, or my job profile does not involve me working in Rust, but I admire that language and the direction in which this language is going in, right? And it's in pre-alpha stage. It's very, very, very early to say anything about it, but I just want to, they released it, and they released it for a reason, for us to test out and share our opinions, constructive criticism, suggestions, feedback, and overall applause, and just validate the people who are actually working very hard behind this code editor. It's very simple. It's available, it's available for your Windows, Mac, and Linux environments, which is a very good thing. Tells a lot about them, because whenever you come across a tool, certain tool, you find out that okay, this tool is only available for Mac and not even for Linux, if not Windows, if not Windows, which is kind of weird. But right out of the box, it is available for all three of the platforms, Linux, Windows, and Macs. I'm on Linux right now. So let's quickly, I have downloaded it, and there is no installation required. They give you a binary file which you don't have to compile it or make it from source or anything. You can directly execute the binary file, and it will give you the code editor. Now from the first looks, it looks a lot like Visual Studio Code, and I don't blame them for anything, because over the years, VS Code has become the staple for code editors. Like, back in the days in 2005, 2006, Notepad++ or Sublime Text were the go-to text editors. Uh, if you'd go watch a YouTube video or any kind of tutorial, everyone would be using Sublime Text or Notepad++. But now times have changed, technologies have changed, and almost everyone I see is using Visual Studio Code, apart from the fact, like, unless and until your dev stack requires you to use some other tool. With that said, um this look and feel can be customized again with the use of themes, but it's in a very early stage, and I don't believe there are going to be a lot of themes available for Lapce right out of the box. But what I see right now in front of me is pretty cool. The colors are nice, the colors are comforting, and they're not they're not causing any problem to my eyes or my personal, how I perceive a code editor. It looks like a code editor, it feels like a code editor, which is nice. Apart from that, one annoying thing that I noticed right out of the box are these two icon kind of thingies on top, which, this, okay, I understand, is the icon for the code editor Lapse again. But right next to this, connect to SSH host, this looks like a button. These both look like a button again. This also could be anything. It could be a notification thingy for the code editor that your code has compiled or anything. But right out of the box, it does not look like that this specific button is going to allow me to connect to an SSH host. Which again, I think the Labs team is probably working on. This is a very early design phase, right? A lot of design analogies, and I'm seeing a lot of, the overall design pattern looks a lot inspired from VS Code. Like I said, VS Code is a staple now. They want to make a software that's friendly for people to start. You open up a new code editor, right? You don't want to spend half of your time in just learning how to use that code editor in, settling in that new environment. So I believe they're trying to make something which is already comfortable for people out there, and it's fine. It's okay. I don't have. It's fine. Uh, Also, one thing that I absolutely love about Labs, the moment I open Labs, I just notice this at first glance. This is what I do the moment I open up any kind of software or editor, Adobe, whether or not you can rearrange the panels and these little, you know, toolboxes that you have. And I love the fact that you can move around things freely wherever I want. I can put whatever I want. While I hate VS Code for it because it's so complicated. I hate. I'll come to it. I'll come to it in just a second. I hate VS Code's. Not just in VS Code. I hate any code editor's left hand sidebar. I do not want anything on the left hand. If I want anything, I either want it on the bottom bar or I want it on my right hand sidebar. I'll tell you the reason why I don't like it. It's subjective, but I love the fact that I can just move around things, and I have changed a couple of things according to my preferences. I'm gonna bring Git here, and the terminal here looks weird. See these icons next to each other; they look weird. Um, it's okay, I believe. Anyway, the terminal again. The terminal. This is a font thingy right here. Not being compatible with the terminal I have right now, the kind of terminal that I have right now. Right. So my terminal looks a bit fancy. It is because of ZSH and power level 10K. This is not directly reflecting here on the terminal that I have inside my Lapce code editor, because I believe this is, I don't just believe this is because of fonts. If I, change the font to something fancy which supports ZSH and all of those icons and themes, this will work out just fine. And yeah, so we have a little so sorry. So we have a little bar here for warnings, and oh yes, I also want this here. I do not want it there. I want Git there. Yeah. So sorry. So I have a specific Oh my god. So sorry. So I have a specific segment for errors and warnings, which I believe is because it does come with dev tools. Some basic dev tools that would allow me to execute programs, either Rust or C++ out of the box. I did install a couple of extensions here, like I said, and a theme for Advaita, the theme Advaita, and C++, but I will come to it in just a while. It looks nice. I don't want this sidebar. Let's quickly open up a folder. Now, opening up a folder, it took me a little while, not exactly a while, it took me just a minute or so, because so if I come to my project overview, open editors, no folder open. If I right click here, no folder open, I cannot open a folder. There are no specific icons, or if there is no folder open, it is not intrusively telling me that, hey, you can click this button to open a folder. Again, I understand that there are shortcuts like Control O and Control N to create a new file, or to open a new file or a folder, but these texts here, they do not look like buttons. They maybe an outline or something out here would explain it more. I can directly open up a folder. Opening a folder is not a problem. It's just that it should tell us what the CTA is supposed to do on the screen, right? Another thing that I noticed here, there is no top bar in Lapce. So like every program by default has a top bar right here. Like it has a file menu, edit section. This is VS Code, by the way. View, go, run, whatever options you have, but you have a little top bar that sets it apart, and you can access it from the keyboard shortcut Alt. This is universal to all programs that you're working on. It does not matter whether you are on Windows or whether you are on Linux, as long as you have the Alt key. I'm not exactly sure on Mac, maybe it's Command, but whatever it is, Command or that weird logo thingy that they have there. So you have this little file menu. Now these menus, these menus and some menus explain and let you do almost everything with the program. I understand the fact that Lapce is in a very early stage, but this is something that I expect any program to have by default. Allow me to just go to preferences, settings, about sections, and everything just from that top bar. It also enables me to have extensive shortcut keys. They're visible right in front of me. So if I go to run, I have a this explains that I do not need to have a separate documentation just to understand documentation page to understand what the shortcuts are, or a dedicated. At the moment, what we have in Lapce is just this settings icon, which is telling us we can open command palette, which is just this, and open settings, open keyboard shortcuts. We have again, see, we have a dedicated page for keyboard shortcuts, because by default we don't have anything that is telling us how you can do it. That file, the top bar could help us here, maybe. I'd leave it completely up to the developers what they feel about it. Again, So opening a folder, I'll just use the traditional Control O to open a folder. You can open folders and files and everything here. Try to open a JSON file here. I have. Can I? Okay, so this JSON file is not restructured, and there is no option by default to refactor it. But if you do open a file, you can split the window into two, and I can open a different file here. It's nice for a pre-alpha version of the code editor. Pre-stage. What is it called? Pre-alpha, whatever. Go to definition, go to type definition. These are okay. These are welcome things, and we have again just control copy paste and command palette. We can open it up, and what options do we have in command palette? Format the document. Okay. Toggle code lengths. It's not doing anything for some reason. I believe they're gonna work on it. It's in a very early stage. So this is the shortcut for, so in VS Code, the identifier that you are typing a line of code here. This is a command. Is this the arrow icon? But here it seems to be the colon and enable modal editing, close folder and everything. So this is nice. Okay, but again, this is we need this, specifically, you should let the user know how exactly you're supposed to do anything. Just a second, guys. So yeah, with this said, what else do we have? We have a global search, which works fine. I'm gonna open a folder, by the way, using the open folder. Okay, this looks good. I'm just gonna go to documents. House, I'm just open this. I've been opened up a folder, and it should definitely switch to the this the folder structure instead of just showing me the extensions, what my extensions are. But again, subjective thing. I have some folders here. I do not have icons showing up for Java, and okay, so they have some coloring going on here for the code, which I think is fine. Can I again, I can run it on the terminal. Definitely I can execute the code on the terminal, but I'm not exactly sure how it's gonna work out. If Okay, so I cannot see dev tools here. I am seeing version controlling here with Git, and because this is actually a Git repository main, and this is showing me the branches that I have. It is on the top left corner. I don't know why. Generally code editors have it on the bottom. I do not want a huge banner of what branch I'm working on right on the top. I could have something else useful here, not just a blank of information telling me what branch I'm working on, which is again subjective. This is something I could be nitpicking, but this is something that I feel. Can I move this? Can I move this? Oh, I cannot move this, but I could have something else, more important information here. Maybe you, I don't know, something else. um, hmm. So I have this here. I have it in the mornings, my terminal, and the terminal. Okay, the terminal also opens up with the folder that I opened, which is pretty. Right. So the terminal is working fine. The icons can be approved again. The another thing, the most important thing that makes any kind of code editor special in today's date, and the thing that made VS Code so special was extensions. So Microsoft did ship VS Code with a lot of extensive tools. Again, they have a lot of developers on their team to work with. They have engineering bandwidth. They have the money to spend on a project. They could do it. I don't know who the developers for this code editor are, but kudos to them. They have already, worked their way for some extensions. They have Discord like theme, dark theme inspired by sweet theme. I don't know if I am installing some of these themes. They just move to install sections. I don't see a lot of things happening here, and but these are just themes. Okay, they explain that they are themes, but for tools like C, C++, and Rust for Lapce, powered by Rust Analyzer. This was made by Lapce, and Python for Lapce. So what exactly is this? Are these full-blown dev tools for that particular language? Are these IntelliSense for that particular language, or just code snippets and stuff for that language. It does not explain. So even if I click on it, I'm not taken to a dedicated page of that extension. Like VS Code has this dedicated marketplace for extensions. You can actually read and go through it. You can connect with the developers who made that extension. You can actually check in what exactly is happening in different versions of that extension, and so on and so forth. Right? You can review extensions there. This is a very early stage build again for Lapce. I'm so sorry if I'm being sounding like nitpicky. I absolutely understand this is very early stage. These are not critiques, but could be suggestions for the future builds of Lapce. But this also brings me to one important thing. We have themes. Let me just try changing theme once. Open settings, Lapse dark. How do I change the theme? Do I have to type it? What? Discord. Okay, so there is no drop down for it. So you have to this theme actually looks very nice. The Discord Insight theme. This looks very pretty. I like it. What's sweet raw? Okay, this is I'm sorry, this is bad. Advaita. I don't like Advaita. This looks weird. I'm gonna go back to Discord theme. I saw a pink theme here. The left install this. See, come on. Every developer has spent a lot of time and just Okay, so this is case sensitive. Stupid thing. Cute light pink. Okay. Now, if this is not case sensitive, it did catch it. Why did it not work for a left? Is it necessary to have the? Okay, no. So this thing is nice. This is pretty. I can work with this. Needs a couple of changes. All these things need to be white, not dark. So if the developer behind this theme is watching this video, Dark Forest, I might as well install Dark Forest. I'm having fun with these with these themes. This looks nothing like a forest, but what's up with these all these shadows? um, hmm. So this tells me the potential that this text editor actually holds, because this is written in Rust, and Rust is a completely different technology as compared to in which VS Code is written in. VS Code is written in JavaScript essentially, and it is published via Electron. So it's a Chromium it's the application is wrapped around a Chromium browser basically, right? And now you can do everything you can produce everything in VS Code given the guidelines, and that you can do with JavaScript and a web browser. But all of these effects kind of things, and I don't know where exactly how far they can push Rust. They say that this is a native application, and native is obviously is going to be faster. And this brings me to the system monitor. Let me check how much stuff it's eating up. Now this is a very where's Lapce? So Lapce is just taking 102 MB of RAM. That is fine. That is pretty. While my VS Code is taking 340 plus 143 plus there should be more instances of code here. See, code, and some more instances down the line. Then definitely see code. So there are definitely VS Code is taking up more RAM as compared to your Lapce, and there is a very reasonable explanation for that, because now my VS Code, on the other hand, is a full-blown IDE at the moment for Java, for Flutter development, and for JavaScript. So VS Code is a full-blown software at the moment. They have extensive support from people as well as the developers that are building it. It's open source, if I'm not wrong. We have live share. Yeah, so I have a lot of extensions installed that, even though I'm not using it, they do run it. Also, one interesting thing about VS Code that I noticed recently is that this Java thing that you're seeing here, it's the extension for VS Code. Let me just hover over it. See, VS Code extensions Red Hat by Java. So it is taking 420 megabytes of RAM on my system, which is more than the code editor itself. I don't know why this is happening, or it's not a problem for me exactly. But for some systems, people running on bare bone systems, or just normal machines. My computer, in fact, is normal. Uh, if you go a bit more normal, it's gonna cause problems for them. So, which is fine. Now, which is not fine. Sorry, which is not fine. It's gonna just the lightweight code editor is gonna take up so many resources. Then rendering VS Code practically useless for them, because VS Code was supposed to be lightweight and everything. And maybe in such a scenario, Lapce can come in handy and help them by giving them all the tools natively written in Rust, and without taking being so expensive on the system. Another thing that I wanted to talk about Lapse is themes are fine, icons are fine. Yes, we need a drop down here. I don't know, enable modal editing. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. So you can change a lot of things. Key bindings, can you change? Okay, we can change the key bindings. Now, if I press it, I have no idea which key binding I'm changing, because at least let me know here in the command palette right here that I am going to change. Wait. Okay, it is. Yeah. Okay, it is doing it. I'm sorry. This looks. I cannot dismiss this modal. Um, if I press somewhere else, I have to specifically either press save or cancel. Okay, this is fine. They're gonna work on it. This is a very early stage. These are minor UI things. I can search for a certain command. Theme settings. I can customize base base colors. I can customize base colors as well. And I believe these themes actually, you know, set the themes based on these colors, if I'm not wrong. I haven't dwelled much into how Lapse is working. I'm just making, I'm shooting arrows in the dark. Anyway, it's a pretty tool. Yeah, the most important thing that I wanted to talk about with Lapse is what problem are they exactly solving. So one case that I found where Lapse could be useful is with VS Code being so resource heavy, is that on slower machines, or machines that do not have a lot of you know processing speed and processing power, essentially, uh, VS Code basically become renders out to be useless, or a bit more problematic, or comes with a lot of hassles of its own in that scenario, because VS Code in that case is not lightweight for you, and it's pointless, right? So in that kind of scenario, maybe Lapse is useful. I'm not exactly sure when this becomes a full-blown code editor and you have dev tools as well and debugging tools as well. I don't know how much resource heavy or lightweight this text editor is going to be. But then again, this text editor is not solving any real world problem that we already have. At least not I could tell from their website, or how they are marketing their product, if they are marketing, or how they are portraying their product. Um, See, again, I have choices. I could There was Atom was slow. And VS Code solved a lot of problems. They gave us customizability, and ability to customize everything. And VS Code was not essentially a code editor for one specific language. It was not specifically made for C or C++ or Rust or Java. You could use VS Code for whatever language or framework or library you wanted to use with. So I have my VS Code set up for JavaScript projects, for React, Angular, and everything, and as well as for Flutter, as well as for Java. So I can use it for almost, like, I can change it. If I want to work with Rust, I can change my VS Code to Rust. So why would I want to use Lapse? Let's just say into the far future, after like about 6, 7, 8 months, this does become, I'm being optimistic with 6, 7, 8 months, but this does become a very decent code editor. Why would I want to switch from VS Code to this platform? What exactly are the things that they are offering, and why should I switch from VS Code? Because VS Code already has a lot great community support. Almost every other developer on YouTube or any kind of tutorial, any kind of course is using VS Code. Why should I switch from VS Code to this? um it is again up to developers to answer this question. I'm not putting out I'm putting this question out to the developers. If they come across this video, do answer this question. I'm just being very optimistic here. But anyway, I loved the overall product so far, and I don't know if it's gonna live. How long is it going to live for? Because these guys are going against the big dogs. I am not even sure if they are going against the big dogs or if they are in any way targeting VS Code, right? But this code editor at the moment, it's just bare bones. It looks good. The future looks bright, and I wish luck to the developers, right? So yeah, thank you so much for watching.